Tunisia now. A lack of rainfall there remains a major obstacle for this year's crop, giving concerns about food security. Authorities, however, say they intend to experiment with cloud seeding techniques. That's essentially a basic way of producing artificial rain to try and get some water to drought-ravaged parts of the country's northwest. From Tunis, here's Adnan Charchi with the details on what's hot tonight.
Tunisia has primarily relied on rainfall to produce the country's much-needed crops, but years of successive droughts have hampered output. In a bid to boost harvests, the Agriculture Department and the Union of Agriculture and Fisheries, in partnership with private sector companies operating in the agricultural field, are experimenting the use of the cloud seeding technique in Tunisia's northwest region.
Cloud seeding should have been experienced in Tunisia much earlier. Now we have no choice but to use this technique because the rainfall and water reserves are at the lowest level.
The regions of Beja, Jandouba, Kirwan, El Kef and Bizet produce over 90% of Tunisia's crops. Authorities are hopeful that the artificial rain experience will be generalized to all agricultural regions.
The success of the pilot experience will pave the way for more tests. We will provoke rainfall in the most affected regions by drought. It will reduce Tunisia's dependence on seasonal rain.
Tunisia secures about two-thirds of its grain annually through imports. Despite the government's attempts to increase domestic wheat production, experts say drought remains the main challenge for achieving food security in the North African country.
This harvest season will be very difficult, especially for cereals. Tunisia is relying on imports and cannot achieve food security with ongoing low precipitation and drought in some regions. Unfortunately, rain-fed farming constitutes 95% of Tunisia's cropland. Drought threatens our food security this season and in the future.
According to the Tunisian Water Observatory, climate change is making the country's agricultural lands drier and more vulnerable to drought.
More than 80% of water in Tunisia is used by the agricultural sector for irrigation. The National Institute of Agronomy says as dry spells have become more frequent, crop water requirements can only be achieved through artificial rain. Adnan Charchi, CGTN, Tunis.